to prepare a 500-year-old recipe from Spain. They call it Sopa de Ajo Castellana. In essence, it's a Spanish garlic soup, and this is a very delicious, very unique, one of the best soup I ever had. And I'm going to prepare in such a fashion that literally is how they prepare it too. But I'm going to show you so you can do it too. I'm going to simplify the instructions for you. So go nowhere, let's enjoy this, and why not? 2.5 cups of beef broth, water is okay. 2 ounces of dry cured ham. I'm using Serrano, but you can use any type of dry cured ham, or you can use chorizo. Make sure you cut it in little squares. 2 teaspoons of paprika, 5 garlic teeth, 4 ounces of loaf of bread, about 2 to 3 days past its freshness, 1 bay leaf, and olive oil, enough to cover the surface area of the pot. And if needed, salt to your taste. And optionally, you can have eggs, or you don't have to add any. I'm going to have to. So let's start cutting the bread. Make sure that when you cut this slice, it'll be a little bit thick. And I'm cutting here with a very good knife, by the way, about maybe 5 slices. And then after you cut it in slices, you then go back and cut them in quarters. And once again, notice the thickness of the slices. And I have several quarters here. Now you grab the garlic and cut it into slices, and make sure that it's a little bit thick, because when you cook it, you don't want it to get burned, and you want the flavor in the soup. In a big pot, make sure it's heating up in medium heat. Add your olive oil, and make sure that the amount of olive oil covers the surface area. I'm going to add a little bit more, and this is how it looks. You don't want it too deep. You just want it to cover, a layer to cover the surface area. Add the ham or chorizo, if you choose to do that, the garlic, and now add the bread. Make sure the bread is toward the pot, over the pot, and you start mixing everything together. Once again, this is medium heat. You notice that the bread is not swimming on the oil. Add the paprika, 2 teaspoons, it's a generous amount. Make sure it's over the bread, and once you do that, you start mixing it up with the oil, still medium heat. Now continue mixing and add the broth. Once again, you can use water, but I'm using beef broth, and I have 2.5 cups. And add the bay leaf and start mixing it again. The mixing process is no more than 2 minutes. It's time to taste it. Mine is going to need a little bit of salt, so I'm going to add some. Actually, I'm going to need a lot of salt, so I'm adding a lot of salt to it, because I want it to taste good. Increase the heat to medium high, cover it, and let it cook for about 7 minutes, maybe 8. See how it's sizzling and how beautiful it looks. As it cooks, I'm going to clean a little bit around the stove. Let me show you how it's looking. Once it starts looking like it's absorbing the liquids, and you can tell that you don't want it dissolved, but you want it enough to absorb the liquids. Now it's time to lower the heat down to medium again, because you want the bread and the liquids to stabilize. Make sure that you're careful when you add the eggs. You don't want them broken. See how it looks. I'm going to move them a little bit to the middle so it gets a lot of the heat from the middle. See how the bread is softening even further. The bread is actually the star of this meal. It is really the star. Now it's time to cover it because you're going to cook it for 3 to 5 minutes. Increase the heat to slightly medium high, and this is what I mean with slightly medium high. In essence, it's a notch above medium. And now it's ready. And the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to move the solids first. Mine I want to eat with a fork, so I'm not going to add a lot of broth, but you can add some of the broth if you want it more liquid. See how beautiful it looks. Add the eggs. Mine, I don't like runny eggs, so I let mine to cook to be a little bit more solid. And here you have it.
A 500-year-old recipe.